Dr. Lawrence Bender. This is the first contest. 10-minute time limit, 1 fall. In this corner, wearing black trunks, weighing in at 270 pounds, he hails from Clifton, New Jersey. Let's hear it for Terry Manton. And his opponent in this corner, wearing blue trunks, he weighed in at 236 pounds. He's from Kearney, New Jersey. Let's hear it for Rocky Jones.
Rocky Jones, and he's got the fans on his side wherever he goes.
Rocky Jones, he's loved by everybody. People appreciate him.
On Manton, and he did a little flip over there, and I'll tell you, that had hurt. Nice arm drag.
Beautiful arm drag takedown by Rocky Jones, now working on that left arm. Manton and Rocky Jones will do anything you want. You want to wrestle, he'll show you all the moves in the book. If you want to fight rough, so to speak, he'll get that way too. Takeover by Rocky Jones, but Terry Manton rather, but Jones hung on to that arm and just turned things right around. And now the referee forces a clean break back in center ring. Again, Rocky Jones moves in with a beautiful arm drag takedown, has that arm bar on the left arm, and really giving that left arm a going over.
That's true, Mike. And you know, Manton was fooled that time because he went to what we call lock horns with Jones, but Jones fooled him. He just shot his arm in there, and he took him over with a nice arm drag. And although now, Manton took Jones over, but Jones just hung on and took Manton over, and he's still hanging on to the left arm.
And I think that's very indicative of the strength of Rocky Jones to be able to hold on to that arm while going over. Manton, a big guy, a body block now by Rocky Jones. Jones up in the air, flying drop kick, catches Terry Manton. And arm drag takedown by Rocky Jones. And so far, Bruno, it's been all Rocky Jones.
Indeed, he's just looking great. And this Manton is a big, powerful guy. He weighs around 275 or so. He's big, he's strong. But I'll tell you, so far, he's not providing Rocky Jones with really any serious competition.
They're back standing position now. Off the ropes comes Rocky Jones. A shoulder block fells Manton. Rocky Jones coming in, arm drag takedown, and he really has that maneuver timed with Terry Manton. He's been very successful with those arm drag takedowns.
Well, he's got so much speed that he keeps Manton off balance at all times, and Manton just hasn't been able to build a defense against Jones's quickness and strength.
And now in the corner, Terry Manton trying to figure out what the next move will be, sort of hesitating at the moment, taking over Rocky Jones. Jones still having a hold on that left arm, now turns that into a hammerlock and really twisting the hammerlock with the wrist.
Indeed, that hammer, that was good. A little flip over and took the pressure off the arm, and here's by the ropes, and the referee should break. However, no.
Off the ropes, up in the air went Jones, but Manton just moved back.
Boy, I'll tell you, Rocky really got up there with a tremendous drop kick, but Manton got out of the way, and he came barreling down on that shoulder, and now there's a slam, right over that top rope, right on the neck. I'll tell you something, Mike. I think Rocky's hurt right now. He hurt his shoulder, and now his neck on that top rope, and whoa.
And Terry Manton went for a sort of cradle position, but Rocky Jones able to kick out at the count of two. An elbow smash by Manton. Jones coming back with a good right. Manton coming back now with an elbow, and right now the match is sort of give and take.
Well, yes, there's no question about Rocky Jones was stunned by those tremendous blows he just took, but he's fighting back. He's hurt, but he's fighting back. Uh-oh, looks like another body slam coming up, a big one.
And he throws Jones down to that canvas, going for the pin. The referee signaling only the count of two was reached. And now Terry Manton keeping that momentum going on his side. Spins Jones into the ropes, catches him with a shoulder to the throat.
I'll tell you, Rocky is not... Oh, look at that. Just when Rocky Jones really seemed as he was on all fours, really hurt. He came up like a ball of fire. Boom, drop kick.
Flying drop kick send Manton to the canvas, picking him up now. Scoops, slams him down to the canvas. Grabbing that leg, and I thought he had that.
I did too. That was one tremendous body slam he just gave him. Now with some center ropes, let's see. Oh, there's a big elbow. I think this is it. I'll bet on it. 2, 3, and that is it.
And Rocky Jones hooking that leg, and that was a tremendous bout against Terry Manton.
A very, very good bout.
I'll tell you, the fans got certainly all the excitement.
Weighing in at 260 pounds. He's from Chester, Virginia. Here is Cy Jernigan. And his tag team partner wearing black trunks. He weighed in at 285 pounds. He hails from Baltimore, Maryland. Let's hear it for John Callihan. And the opponents, the Valiant Brothers, wearing the green trunks. John Luscious Valiant and Jerry the Gentleman Valiant. Their combined weight 530 pounds. They hail from New York City. Let's hear it for the Valiant Brothers. The referee in the ring at this time, Tommy Saboldi.
And we're now looking at tag team action. The Valiant Brothers set to lock up with Cy Jernigan and Big John Callihan. And certainly the Valiant Brothers show you why each week they got their reputation.
That's true, but I'm interested to see this fellow Cy. He just stepped outside the ring. He looks in pretty good shape. I've never seen him before, and I don't know too much about him, but I'm curious to see what he's got. Callihan we've seen before. Unfortunately, he is a big man, 285 to 90, but it's not the most solid 280, 90 pounds I've ever seen. So we'll see what kind of opposition he can provide for the Valiants.
There's Brother Jerry tagging off with Johnny. We're seeing more of that double teaming on the part of the Valiants. The referee certainly will have his work cut out to make sure that one Valiant is in the ring. A knee by Luscious John caught Callihan into the ropes, and Jerry Valiant caught him with that boot. And double chops to the back of Big John Callihan. And now Jerry picks him up and slams Big John Callihan to the canvas.
And that's a big slam. I'll tell you, when you weigh 280, 90 pounds like this Callihan, and you get scooped up by a guy like Jerry Valiant, who's about 6'4", that's coming down hard, and that ring really shook. And again, the Valiants, what they're doing, as we've seen so many times, Mike, quick tags. They get an opponent, they keep them close to their corner. They again quick tags, and I'll tell you, that's why they're so successful. They work well as a team.
You mentioned, Bruno, you wanted to see Cy Jernigan. We might not get a chance because
that's the truth.
The Valiants are doing a great job at keeping Callihan away from Jernigan. And this bout could be over before Jernigan ever gets a chance to come in.
Well, I hope he does come in, though. As I say, I've never seen Cy wrestle before, and I'm curious because the guy does look like he's in good shape. Oh, that's a second slam, this time by Johnny Valiant. And that's 2 big slams that Callihan has taken so far.
I surely hope the ring is well supported, because when Callihan came down, the whole floor of the ring is
going to give in.
And now working over in the corner by Jerry Valiant, a chop to the forehead, and Callihan reels back from that blow. And now, what exactly was that? I don't know if he bowled his way into the corner.
Yes,
or
he did. He pushed Valiant back, and he was able to keep him off balance enough to tag out. And now the Sly is in, and I'm curious to see what he can do. And so far, there he goes. He got trapped again right in the corner of the Valiant, and that's a no-no.
And now some more double teaming on the part of the Valiants. There's Luscious John, and he caught him with the top strand of the ropes, and actually like a slingshot, threw him back.
A bear hug by Sly. Oh, Johnny Valiant, he turns his body around, takes a headlock, and takes Sly over.
And now there's luscious John Valiant working over Cy Jernigan. Side headlock now. Jernigan trying to regain his footing. Valiant grabbing a hold of the hair and pushing him off. Tagging off now with Gentleman Jerry. Front face lock now by Jerry Valiant. Into the corner. And now comes Big John Callihan.
Well, see now the mistake they made, Sly. We know the kind of games the Valiants play. They're vicious. Here they got him on a corner, and now Sly isn't doing anything. They should give him a little bit of their own medicine. Sly from outside should be getting Valiant, and they should do a number on him. Instead, look at this. He didn't even bother to do anything. And you cannot do that with the Valiants. You've got to give him back a little bit of their own medicine. I mean, they had him right in the corner. You know, they had Jerry Valiant right in their own corner, and they actually let him go. They didn't, you know, just Sly stayed outside, and Callihan by himself, and that's too bad.
And Jerry Valiant watching on his brother John Valiant working over Callihan. A hip roll. And a vicious shot to the midsection by Jerry Valiant. Johnny Valiant now on the outside of the ring. And Callihan just about ready to go outside of the ring.
I'll tell you, Callihan's been taking an awful beating. I mean, from the time that bell rang, their Valiants just took charge on him, and they just been working him over. Now he tagged this Sly fella again. And let's see what he does this time. Got a headlock on Jerry, but there he goes again. He pushes him right to the corner. Push him to the corner, and again, he's right at the Valiant's corner, and that's a bad place to be, as we say time and again. And look at this. Uh-oh, there's the clothesline. Oh, boy.
Oh, what a shot to the throat, and I don't know if he's going to get a... He caught him right in the throat, and I think he's in a lot of trouble.
Yes, indeed. He took a tremendous blow.
And certainly the team of Jernigan and Callihan.
Called manager, let's say associate, to Larry Zbyszko, Davey O'Hannon. David, a lot of controversy has arisen just recently about Zbyszko's tactics and exactly what's been going on between Zbyszko, you, and the Sammartinos. And now it's down to Sammartino Bruno Jr. having to take up the fight.
He took up the fight. Did you see the sneak attack last week when he slapped me in the face? Those two Sammartino boys are the most despicable people I ever met in my life. And as far as taking exception to Mr. Zbyszko's tactics, who takes exception?
I think the fans take exception, and most of the wrestlers do, particularly with the methods that you all seem to use or happen to prevail during most of the matches.
Well, number one, if the fans don't like the tactics, why don't they get in, get a pair of tights, train themselves? They're not in shape, fat old people. All they do is sit on a couch and guzzle 6 packs of beer. Why don't they get in shape and change some tactics? And the Sammartinos don't count with anybody. They don't count. They have nothing to say, They cry and cry. And boy, Larry's been picking on us. And I tell you, it's getting disgusting.
Okay. Well, fans, we're going to see a lot coming up, and we want to continue with this, and we're going to see, probably we'll get to see Bruno Jr. a little later on in the program, and we'll have some other super matches, and I'd like to get some comments from you about some of these matches coming up. So you'll stick around and watch with us, right?
I'll stick around. I'll have my eye on Sammartino every minute. And let me tell you something. I'm not going to leave this building until my report is in.
Okay, that's it from Sports Center. We'll be back later.
This next contest, Bruno Ed Lowry locking up against Steve Bolus. I'm not familiar at all with Steve Bolus.
Let me tell you, I can tell you plenty about Steve Bolus. I go back a long, long time with Steve Bolus. This fella is a terrific, terrific wrestler. First time I met him was in 1970, I think it was, in Australia. And I'll tell you what, he's a Greek fella. He's from Greece originally. And he's been one of the finest scientific wrestlers around. He's just a nice guy, a terrific guy. Has done very, very well in professional wrestling for a lot of years. throughout Europe and the United States. And I'll tell you, I, for one, am very happy to see him and welcome him in international wrestling, because I think the fans are going to like Steve Bolus. He's a great wrestler and a great guy.
Well, I certainly look forward to seeing his scientific techniques inside the ring. An overhead wrist lock at the moment by Bolus. And there's Lowry forcing him to the ropes, forcing an automatic break. And now back in center ring. Bolus, you can tell, has got that look in his eyes. He's trying to think of his opponent's next maneuver, so he will have a counter ready. They're behind now, going behind Bolus, and now turning things around. An arm lock is Ed Lowry.
Well, so far, the one thing we've seen is a scientific match. I know Steve Bolus is not a rule breaker. I know, like I say, for a long, long time. But this Lowry fella, I don't know him too well. It seems to me the last time we did see him, he did get a little rough with his opponent, and I don't remember exactly who he was wrestling. But thus far, it's strictly a wrestling match, and it's good. I hope it stays this way.
And we were talking about Steve Bolus not being a rule breaker. Beautiful, clean break, a real gentleman-like thing to do inside the ring. I think that's a fresh breath of air. It's really great to see that.
Indeed. Well, you know, once in a while, I think it's nice to see a good, clean, scientific match. And so far, that's what we have. Let's see if it stays that way. Right now, as Bolus has got Lowry's head scissored, and he's kicking out, and he almost kicked into a nip-up. Very good. To his credit, very good for Lowry.
And Bolus going a leg dive.
Beautiful leg dive. As you see, he really Steve Bolus came down really quickly, hooked that leg low. That's what you're supposed to in the ankle area, taking the balance off the opponent and driving him back. And that's exactly what he did, and he did it very nicely.
And so far, Bruno, I'm very impressed with Steve Bolus doing a fine job of scientific wrestling inside the ring.
Now, that was a little bit of a nasty blow. He caught him with the boot right across the face, and that's really not legal. But Steve is a gentleman. He's a scientific wrestler all the way. And but I'll tell you what, I've seen him. Like I say, I know him well. And when they get rough with him, he can get rough. He's got a temper.
An outside headlock by Ed Lowry, tossing him into the ropes, catching him with a shoulder block, coming off the ropes again, and Lowry possibly wisely hesitating.
Well, it was wisely, because he noticed that when he knocked the Bolus down, Bolus was back on his feet, and he knew that if he kept coming, Bolus was ready and waiting on him, so he would have no doubt done something with him. Nice headlock and takeover by Ed Lowry. Bolus spins to his stomach, and let's see what he does.
And now Ed Lowry with the upper hand, so to speak, side headlock applied to Steve Bolus. Bolus trying to work his way out. And Ed Lowry really applying the pressure on that side headlock. And this is a tough one to get out. He must first pry that left arm out of Ed Lowry and slowly work his way out. But he now tosses him into the ring, up, stepping over him. And again, Lowry hesitated like he was not sure of what to do next.
Very true.
And there is Steve Bolus calculating every maneuver inside the ring, locking up with Ed Lowry. Lowry back with that side headlock on Bolus. And one thing I will say, Lowry showing a great deal of respect in the ring for Steve Bolus.
Well, I'm sure he's heard of Steve Bolus. Like I say, most wrestlers, all wrestlers know who Steve Bolus is. Maybe all the fans don't know him because he's never been around this area before. But I guarantee you all wrestlers know who Steve Bolus is.
And now the referee calling for a clean break. Lowry wisely going to the ropes. And now back in center ring. Bolus looking to lock up with Lowry. Referee's position now. Lowry going back with that side headlock, which has been one of the more effective holds for him in the match.
He's used it quite a bit, but here he goes. Bolus sends center rope. He gets hit with one tackle, goes for a second tackle. Bolus drops down and catches him with, let's see, the abdominal stretch. That's what it is. The abdominal stretch. He's got him, and there's no way he's going to get out. And that's submission.
And he really used that abdominal stretch with a great deal of power behind it, and it was a very effective maneuver in winning this contest.
That was his hold. He always used the abdominal stretcher very successfully.
And the fans applauding the victory for Steve Bolus. Let's go up and get the official time.
The time, 5 minutes and 10 seconds. The winner by an abdominal stretch, Steve.
And just looking at this match, we saw the young speed and aggressiveness of a new young wrestler against a real veteran in Steve Bolus.
Steve Bolus is almost legendary in the wrestling business. He knows every move, every counter move, every counter to every counter. Ed Lowry looks like he's in good shape, but he also has a lot to learn. But see, seeing a scientific match like that reminds me of Larry Zbyszko.
Well, you were speaking of legends, and of course, Larry Zbyszko is a legend in his own mind.
Wait, pardon me. You said a legend in his own time, correct?
I said legend in his own mind.
Well, you stand corrected then, Rich. Larry Zbyszko, excuse me, you rude people. Larry Zbyszko. You know, I don't have to sit here and listen.
Stay with the interview.
I don't have. Larry Zbyszko happens to be the new living legend. And the reason he's the new living legend is because he beat up the old living legend.
Well, the old living legend also has a very talented son, Bruno Sammartino Jr. Time is coming. And you know what they say in professional wrestling, in this great sport, what goes around comes around.
Right, and Bruno Jr. is coming around to take his beating. I know what goes on in professional wrestling. And I know that when Larry Zbyszko, the new living legend, gets his mitts on Bruno Sammartino Jr., he's going to need a doctor.
Do you really feel that?
Oh, I believe it with all my heart. I mean, the man can't shine the shoes of Larry Zbyszko. He really can't.
Well, the time's coming. We shall find out once and for all, I'm sure, whether or not Zbyszko is going to remain victorious or whether Bruno Sammartino Jr. is going to take it away from him. That's it from Sports Center. We'll be back.
And we're taking a look at Giant David going against Ed Bonzo. I've not seen Giant David, but we talked a little bit about him earlier.
He's a huge guy. As you say, 6'10", he weighs 340 pounds, and I'll tell you, that's a big man. He just says, somebody told me my opponent's supposed to only be 5'11".
I think Ed Bonzo's having second thoughts about this match. I think his head goes almost right through the ceiling.
Yeah, he's a big guy. I have heard of him, as far as size, but I really don't know too much about him. Wrist lock, and there's no way that Bonzo can put any leverage. And as you can see, it's not facing this guy the least.
I certainly don't know how Ed Bonzo's going to give him a punch to the head because he can't even reach that high.
That's for sure.
And now Bonzo putting on some antics, trying to buy some time, trying to stall the match. I really don't believe he wants to get too close to Giant David.
Now here's Bonzo, gets behind Giant David. Now I don't know what he intends to do, but look at this. He's prying his hands apart. That shows you that the guy's got a lot of strength. Look at this. Just opened his hands right up and walked out. Now that's got to discourage Bonzo a little bit. Say, hey, what's this?
You know, Bruno, I've never seen Giant David before, and I really don't know if he can wrestle or not. But when you're that big and that strong, does it really matter?
Well, I gotta tell you, when you're that big, look at this, look at this. Now, one thing that tells me right off the bat, he's got great leverage, because here's Bonzo trying to get his leg off, and look at that, he shot that leg up, and he sent Bonzo about 4 feet up in the air.
And now Giant David just towering over Ed Bonzo. Not really doing a lot, but then when you're that size, you don't have to do that much.
I think he's just letting Bonzo do anything and everything he wants, and what he's trying to show, I think, the wrestling fans, here's the strength he has, how easily he gets out. Now look at this. Here's Bonzo with both arms trying to twist Giant David's left arm, and nothing at all. Look at this. Whoa, big chop to the chest.
I think you're right. He's just toying with Ed Bonzo.
No question about it. He's just letting Bonzo do anything he wants to do. And he's saying, go ahead, do anything you want, and I'll show you that you can't do nothing with me.
He's peering at Ed Bonzo saying, I dare you. Go ahead, do something. It won't work. It won't help you. And Bonzo really having difficulty even getting close. A side headlock by Bonzo, and Giant David picking him up like a feather and tossing him off.
And you know, when 6'10", I took a headlock Bonzo there. When he scooped him up, so you know he's coming down that's a 7-foot drop.
And you know, Bruno, he picked up Bonzo and slung him about 7 feet across the ring, but Bonzo, you know, is over 200 pounds of dead weight.
Well over 200 now. Look at this. He's hitting him. Look at this. He's hitting him instead of... He's not hurting this Giant David at all. Look at this.
He didn't hurt him, but he sure made him angry.
Well, what a chop right in the head. Now let's see. He's going to throw him center rope. Big foot. Well, you know, this is it.
And he caught him with that full weight coming down across the chest of Ed Bonzo.
Tag team partner wearing black trunks. He weighed in at 290 pounds. He's from Richmond, Virginia. Here is Johnny Ringo. Ringo. And the widely heralded tag team of the Kelly brothers, Pat and Mike. They hail from Sweet Home, Oregon. Their combined weight, 525 pounds. The referee in the ring at this time, Tommy Savoldi.
Right now, we're going to be taking a look at tag team action with the Kelly brothers. And Bruno, you know a lot about the Kelly brothers. I do not.
Yes, indeed. They're identical twins, as you can see. I mean, they really look alike in every sense of the word. And these are lumberjacks from Canada. And I'll tell you, they've been wrestling for some 10 years, and they've built quite a reputation for themselves.
Bruno, can I ask you a personal question?
Yes.
Do you know which one is which?
You know what? I really don't.
Because I don't. I was hoping that you did.
They are really identical twins. I mean, you look everything about them. There isn't a thing about it you could tell them apart on. They just look exactly alike. I don't know if the folks at home get a real close view of them, but they are really, really identical twins. But I'll tell you, they're great wrestlers, and they certainly have built quite a reputation for themselves.
And there's one of the Kelly brothers whipping over Rocky Raymond with an arm drag. Front face lock now. And, you know, Rocky Raymond is nobody to play with either. We've seen him before, and he's quite tough.
Well, he's a big 260-pound guy. You know, he's a big guy.
And so far, just a few seconds have gone into the match, but I must say, what I've seen, I'm impressed with the size and the power and the speed of the Kelly brothers.
Oh, yes, they're big. They both weigh well over 250 pounds, and they're both well over 6 feet tall, and they both, I'll tell you, they know all the moves. And I'll tell you what, they have all the moves, and you want to get rough with them, they'll go toe-to-toe with anybody.
And one of the Kelly brothers tripped out, Rocky Raymond. Should we call him Kelly number 1 and Kelly number 2?
Yes. Kelly wanted to. Just say a Kelly.
Because I've always had trouble telling twins apart. Even when I went to school, there was twins, and I knew them for 15 years, and I never knew which one was which. And these are identical.
Well, you know,
I cannot tell.
You know, Mike, I have twin boys. I have Danny and Daryl. They're twins, but they're not identical. You know, one's black hair, one's got brown hair, and they're not identical. But when you have identical twins like these two guys, I certainly can tell them apart. Right now, Rocky Raymond is doing a little bit of a number on one of the Callies, and here comes a big slam, and he tags out. Mistake. When you're on top of a man, you don't tag out like that.
And in comes Johnny Ringo. And the Kelly brothers proving they do know those rough tactics.
Oh, yeah. When they saw what Rocky Raymond did, they said, okay, you want to play it rough? We'll show you that we can do that, too. And I think they just gave them a taste of their own medicine. I'll tell you, these guys, like I said, they're pros. They know they're wrestling inside out, and they can go anywhere. They prefer scientific wrestling. You know, they're great wrestlers. But like I say, hey, if somebody wants to get rough, they'll go. They're not going to be abused.
Now, the Kelly brother almost chopped Johnny Ringo, but now side headlock, taking him over with a hip toss. And now the Kelly with a leg scissors. And really stretching those legs.
Indeed. Makes a tag. His brother comes in and grabs the right leg, but he went right back to the left leg, covers him. Ringo kicks off. Of course, Ringo's a big guy, too. Well, I think, Mike, I think for the little bit that you've seen of these guys, I think you get a pretty good picture as to what kind of caliber of wrestlers they are.
Exactly. Nothing but the best. They've shown me some great maneuvers inside the ring. They really can wrestle scientifically, but also they've shown me don't push them too far, because they will fight as dirty or dirtier than perhaps you want to get.
Now, here you go. You see Raymond's got a choke on him. Now, I'll tell you what. The referee's making him break. But I'll tell you what, Raymond's looking for trouble, because these guys will not stand for this. I'm telling you, they will not take too much abuse from anyone.
You know, one thing that impressed me, Bruno, is the ability the Kellys have to take punishment. Raymond came down with that knee right to the heart area of the Kelly, and it didn't faze him as much as I thought it really would. They can really take the punishment. They're very
good
rugged.
Shape. They're big, rugged guys.
Back body drop by the Kellys, and Raymond lucky to get out on the count of 2 for that one. And now Johnny Ringo trying to mount an attack on the Kelly brother. Up in the air, and he caught Ringo, but probably not with the full momentum that he wanted to get behind that. Back body drop by Kelly brother number 1. Kelly brother number 2 coming in to try and finish it, and Ringo lucky to escape. And the referee signaling that the count of 2 was reached. And what a knee drop that was that caught Johnny Ringo, and there was no way he was going to get up from that count of 3. And the Kelly brothers certainly making a big hit on their initial appearance here on International
Brothers. You know, I've been telling the folks, guys, as we were sitting here talking about you, that for all the years that we've known you, a lot of the fans here are not familiar with the Kelly brothers, because I was explaining to them, you guys spent a lot of years in Europe. You were, what, the European Tag Team Champions for 5 years? And I think you were Australian Tag Team?
Australian, we're the world's. We've had a lot of titles. The promotion got a hold of us to come to this area because there's a lot of tough talent. They have a lot of top names, and that's why my brother Mike and I are here. There's been a couple of guys in the area my brother and I are not too fond of. A little later in the program, we'll be coming around and telling you their names. But other than that, we come here for tough talent, and this is where it is in this area. My brother and I did not come here because the women are pretty or the country is beautiful. We come here to beat people and wrestle and show you what we are all about. And we want the people to be on our side. And from what the people are saying right now, I think that they like us. Isn't that right, Brother Mike?
That's right. You know, Bruno, these people are so warm. I've been around the country, all over the world. When my brother and I came to this area, these people are so great. I just can't believe it. You go in a restaurant, they socialize with, they're great people. But I'll tell you one thing. This is the hotbed of professional wrestling throughout the world. The #1 wrestling hotbed in the world. It's right here.
Well, you know, I'll tell you guys what, we're all thrilled that you're here. But I can think of a team that may not be so thrilled that the Kelly brothers have come around. And I'll tell you, I'll even give you their names. And those are the Valiants, because they've been claiming that there's brothers. There's no other team in the world like the Valiant Brothers. And so I'll tell you, this is going to be interesting if the time comes about where the Valiants get a chance to meet the Kellys.
Like we said before, I didn't want to come out and say the name, but you had to go and say it. So Valiants, if you're listening, we're going to be after you. You don't forget one thing. You know us. We know you. You're great wrestlers. You're a great team. But don't forget,
We have been together all our lives. We haven't been together for a couple of years or 6 months. We have been together all our lives. We think alike, we eat alike, everything is alike.
You know, there's one thing in the world. You do not see identical wrestlers like my brother and I in the profession. We are the only team throughout the world that are identical. We're 5 minutes apart. I'm not going to tell your age. We do look a little old. We've been in the wrestling profession for 16 years. But like I say, that's right. It's fantastic. It really is.
Well, I'll tell you guys certainly, the fans here are going to love you because you guys are great wrestlers. You just showed the people here what great wrestlers you really are, and we're thrilled that
you know, Bruno, you got to be one of the greatest men in the world. I've traveled, I've wrestled all over. Everybody talks about Bruno Sammartino and Jr., the greatest.
Thank you very much.
And also Dominic Denucci.
Thank you.
At 265 pounds, he's from Kentucky. Here is Butcher Hughes. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing black trunks. He weighed in at 232 pounds from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Here he is, Bruno Sammartino Jr. The referee in the ring at this time, Fred Sparta.
Butcher Hughes locking up with Bruno Sammartino Jr. And right from the opening bell, Bruno Sammartino Jr. and takes him over with a reverse suplex, and now has got a hold of that foot. And things started very quickly in this match.
Well, I'll tell you, Junior really scooped this Butcher guy, and he really shut him up with a tremendous suplex. But I'll tell you, he's pretty tough, too, because he took a blow like that can ordinarily beat a man. And he's up, and he's at it again.
And now Bruno Sammartino Jr. with an armbar on Butcher Hughes. And I'll say I'm not familiar with Butcher Hughes, but he looks like quite a rugged individual.
Well, 265 pounds is a big guy. But what impressed me is that when Junior gave him a tremendous suplex, and he actually got up in a hurry, and that's something, because a blow like that, there's a fireman's carry. Ordinarily, a blow like that will, like I say, it's good enough for a pin ordinarily. Nice at the ropes, and just had a break.
Well, we know that Hughes can take it, but can he give it good enough to win the contest? That's the question. And right now, Junior showing some good footwork inside the ring.
Well, it's one way of getting got. When he got behind him, I guess he suspected another suplex. I said that was pretty smart because he went right to the ropes. And that was to avoid taking another suplex, and I don't blame him because those suplexes are devastating. There's a nice drop toe hold. Very nice executed.
And Bruno Sammartino Jr.'s got Hughes in a rather tough position to be in.
That's an extremely excruciating position to be in. Because you can see he's got the foot right in between the shoulder blades and pulling up both arms. And he's doing the wise thing, and that is to drag himself to the ropes and have him break, because that's the only way you're going to get out of that.
And I would think with that type of maneuver, you could pull the shoulder right out of the socket.
You better believe it.
And Hughes complaining to the referee. I don't think that's going to do him any good.
And,
going behind now, Junior. Hughes looks a little bit bewildered and confused.
That was a devastating suplex he just took. Devastating. And I'll tell you, I'll have to give him this much. That fella can certainly take punishment because many opponents would have certainly been enough for either submission or a pin with what he's taken so far. But he's still in there.
Of course, as you well realize, in boxing and in wrestling and in all sports, every athlete has a different capacity to withstand pain and withstand, abuse inside the ring. Everybody has a different limit.
That's right.
And I would say Hughes has a very high limit pain tolerance.
Indeed, absolutely.
overhead wrist lock by Bruno Jr. tripping him out, taking Hughes to the canvas. And now working on that left arm of Butcher Hughes. And an eye gouge now by Hughes, sending Sammartino Jr. into the corner. Chop to the throat, repeating that. And slamming Sammartino into the turnbuckle. And Hughes gets caught by the boot of Jr. What a wallop. And he really went for the knockout with that blow. And a beautiful flying drop kick from a standing position by Bruno Jr. And I think one of his favorite holds coming up.
Look at this suplex. Fantastic.
You know, Bruno, I've seen a lot of suplexes in my time, as you have, and that had to be one of the most devastating and brutal suplexes I've ever seen.
I'll try and sound prejudiced, but I'll tell you, he threw one of the finest suplexes I've ever seen.
And the man weighs 260 pounds, and that certainly was the finishing touches on that match. Right now, let's go up to the ring announcer.
Time.
Certainly been known all over the world. And being brothers, you thought you were unique, but there's a new team, identical twins, no less, the Kelly brothers, and they threw a few barbs at the Valiant Brothers, saying that they were casting an eye towards the Valiant Brothers, and I just would like your comment on that.
Well, you know, when you're on top of the heap, as the Valiant Brothers are, there's only one way to go. That's one way to look at it. But when you're working your way up the ladder, who do you shoot for? You shoot for the person, or in this case, the team, the tag team that's on top. And right now it's the Valiant Brothers. So here's the Kellys, and they're up there looking, and here's the Valiant Brothers. We're down here watching them. The Valiant Brothers are very aware, Jerry and myself, speaking for the Valiants right now, are very aware of the Kelly brothers, of their potentials, of their case histories, of their track records, of their victories, and a few of their defeats. I can honestly say, though, in the recent months, that the Kelly brothers are totally undefeated. They've gone through an array of teams over in Australia, where they were the tag team champions of Australia. The Pacific Coast saw the two twins, the Kelly brothers, that is, the champions out there as well. And now they come this way towards international wrestling and seek and in search of the Valiant Brothers. They shoot right away for the top. That's the way it is in football and hockey and baseball. Who do you pay to see? You pay to see the people, the main eventers, the guy hit the ball out of the park, the guy that threw the touchdown pass.
All right, let me ask.
Wait, I'm not through talking yet, Mike.
I want to ask your brother.
Don't you ever interrupt me and go insinuating that I'm through. I'm trying to talk to you like a gentleman. Now, if you just shut up and pay attention, you're going to hear me talk. Kelly brothers, you out there on yourself a reputation.
That's it for this week.
That's the end of the interview.